We're going to explore functions now. Now, functions allow us to organize and structure our code in a really sensible way. And also, they avoid us having to repeat blocks of code. So instead of repeating all the code several times over and over again, what we can do is we can put all that code into a function and then call the function several times. So in that sense, we're able to use functions to help us write more concise code and also to be able to reuse code over and over. So let's have a look by creating a function to start with a single parameter. So we're going to start by creating a function using def. So def is just short for define, and then we're going to do a function that simply squares a number. So what it's going to do is call it square, and the value that we're going to put in here is just going to be a value. That's going to be our input parameter, and then we are going to square our value. So we're going to do square value equals value times value, and then we're going to return our square value. So the input is the value that goes in, and the output is the value squared, so that's what's returned. Now we need to call our function. The way we do that is simply to do square, and then we're going to put a value in. We're going to put, let's say, 3 in, and the value that's going to come out, we're just going to have, again, we can call it square value, square value. Now notice this is the same as what's going on inside there. It doesn't matter. They are actually different variables because this is outside of our function, this is inside of our function, so they're not going to interfere with each other. We'll look at local and global variables at a later stage. We're also now going to print out our square value. So we're going to run our code, and you can see it's returned 9 there, so it's squared our 3, which is great. So that's a function with a single parameter. Sometimes we might want to have more than one parameter, so we can easily do that as well. So we're now going to use Pythagoras to calculate the hypotenuse of a right angled triangle. So the two values are going to go in, x and y. So these are the length of our adjacent and opposite sides. And we're then going to we're going to change the name of it. We're going to call it Pythag. And we're going to now have, so we're going to have it as sum of squares. So that's going to be sum of squares, that's going to be x, or we can do that to square it as well, so plus y squared. Remember, x and y are our two sides, our adjacent and opposite sides. And then we're going to square root that value now. Now this is a little bit funny because what we have to do, we have to import math for that, and use math dot square root to actually square root our sum of squares of, and we're going to call that the hypotenuse, and then return that value. And now again we can just change this now to Pythag, so we'll call it, and we now need to put in two values here, so we're going to do 3, 4, so those are the length of our two sides, and we're going to return hypotenuse, but we can call it, we can give it a different variable. We're going to call it z, and we're going to print out z and save it and run, and you can see there it's worked it out to be 5, and x squared plus y squared, so the square of 3 squared is 9 plus 4 squared, which is 16, which is 25, which is square rooted, which gives us our value there. So that's using a function with two input parameters and returning a single value.